I've opened up this picture of myself and I'm going to show you how we can turn it into a low poly object, which is kind of an artistic thing to do. So we're going to start off, we need to get this object onto its own layer. So I'm going to go to my selection tool, my object selection tool, which you'll find over here on the left-hand side. This object selection tool was new to Photoshop, fairly recently, and it does a pretty decent job of it. And so if you uh, there's a couple of ways, I guess. One, you can draw a box around what you want to select, and it kind of just knows what you want. You can also choose this button at the top here that says select subject, and it just kind of crunches for a little while, and it knows what it needs. Now, you will notice though a little bit here, it has missed a tiny little bit inside there. You see those marching ants where it's just missed that little bit? And over here on the edge, it hasn't really done a very good job of going around um, where that section is. And so what I want to do is I want to refine this a little bit. I just want to have myself with the helmet on there. And so I need to add in a little bit. I'm going to go to my lasso tool. Shift is an add-in tool. So if I hold down my shift key and then I can drag and draw a little circle around there, it adds those in. I'm going to add in these as well. So I'm holding shift while I'm doing it. Here you can watch me. I'm going to do this one and I'm going to add those in. And so now you can see I've got a better selection of it. I'll zoom back out again. That's my Alt key with the scroll wheel that I'm using in order to zoom in and out. And now I'm going to take this object and I'm going to jump it to its own layer. You can use copy and paste, but Control J, which is the shortcut for jump, takes something and it puts it on its own layer. So I'm going to do a Control J, and now you can see over here in the layer palette that I actually have my background, but now I've got this new layer here that just has me on it. So if I shut that off, you see, it's just got it selected like so. So now I need to start drawing some triangles. And what you want to do is kind of keep your triangles in the same zone of the colors that you're using. I'm going to shut my background off temporarily so that I can't even see that other background out there. And you're going to use the polygonal lasso tool for this. So polygonal lasso, and I'm going to start by drawing a triangle. Now I'm going to zoom in a lot so that I know that I'm not missing a bunch of pixels. And I'm going to start here and I'm going to make a triangle. And you can decide how big you want your triangles to be, but I'm going to kind of make a triangle like this. And now once I've got a triangle made on that layer, I'm going to go to my filter menu and choose blur and say blur average. You can see how it's turned it into a little bit of a blur. From there, I'm going to draw a new polygon. So I can deselect that one by Control D. And now I can draw a new one kind of over top where my old one was. And I'm going to just try and get mostly the white pieces on here. You can see I'm missing a little bit at the top of that, but that's okay. And again, filter, blur, average. Now there's a shortcut. Filter blur average is sitting right here. The last filter that you've used is right there at the top. So filter, average, and you can see there's a shortcut for that as well called Alt Control F. So I'm going to do that. And now it's blurred my next piece. And now I'm going to take another little piece of triangle. I'm going to go from here to here. I'll come down to this white part and go up. Make sure you get the little circle so that it closes it up for you. And now filter, blur average again. And this is what you're going to do through your whole piece of it. You're just going to make a bunch of triangles and filter, blur average, or Alt Control F. I've done a bunch more here, and I just thought that I would pause that so that I could sort of speed it up and you didn't have to really watch me painstakingly do all of this. But you can see I'm just making my way across and I'm just making these triangles everywhere I go and using my shortcut key in order to fill in that average of a blur. Oh, missed a piece there. Start that again. When you have color changes, this is when you want to kind of be careful that you're not using too many like triangles that are going to be over too many different shades, because when it does an average, you can see how it's going to eliminate the rim of the helmet here on this portion of it, because it's grabbing all of those skin and hair tones. So if you want to maintain a line, like if I want this line of my helmet to maintain, then that means that I'm going to have to take my triangles and make sure that they're a little bit just following kind of that shade of that color when I do that averaging on it. And then I could come over here and I could maybe make another one like so. The smaller your triangles, of course, the more detail that you're going to have. And please make sure that you stick with triangles, that you're not trying to do other shapes of it. And so we just grab, and you can see how I'm just working my way across his helmet. Now, if you're not totally accurate, you can overlap triangles that you've already done. That's fine. You just don't want to have gaps. Okay, so in this section here, for instance, I'm overlapping. You can see that, but I'm not going to have any gaps between it, and that way it just creates those triangles as you're working your way through it. And so just continue until your photo is done. Don't forget to save every once in a while. So here's my completed low poly photograph. And now if you want to put a background underneath it that is solid, then you could do that. Simply add a new layer, put that layer underneath your photo layer that you've got, and you can fill it with whatever color you want. So if I wanted this on a black background, I'm on my color black, and I can just use my paint bucket tool, which is hiding inside your gradient if you can't see it, your paint bucket, and I can just fill that. And now it's on a black background. And if you want a different color background, then just go ahead and choose something that is complementary. I'm going to kind of use one of these little orange ones that are in here. So see how I took my eyedropper and I just went into that kind of orangey kind of a color. You can see it's kind of pinky, and you can grab colors out of your photograph through there. And I'm going to fill that layer with that color instead. And that's it. You're done. You can save that.